All right. Joining me now from Italian Blood, we got T Soprano and cousin Jonny. Thank you guys for joining.
Thanks for having us, man. Always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure having you. As a matter of fact, we missed last year. We were consistent. We had you on the show for 2021, 2022, 2023, and then earlier this year, we were doing something because I think you guys put something out back around March, maybe. And I
Yep.
thought, when was the last time we had him on the show? And I looked it up, and we missed a year. I can't believe it.
I tried, man. We were so busy last year. Oh, at least I was. And then I remember I hit you up early December, and I was like, "There's no way we're gonna make it."
Right.
If so, then it was like, yeah. After that, um, I was like, "We'll just take our time with it, man." And then there's a lot of world changes, so I had some other priorities.
That life
Had some.
happens that way. You still are the consistent regular as far as anybody else is concerned when it comes to being on the show. So I appreciate you joining, and it's great to have cousin Jonny join you this time.
Uh,
Thanks, thanks. Good to be
So,
on.
what's Italian Blood up to? Obviously, it's been since 2023 since we've had the band. Anybody, well, T Soprano on as, but what has the band been up to since then?
So we got a whole bunch of releases. We had a couple that kind of made their way out from 2020 to 2022. We had a EP in 2023, a couple EPs last year, and some really good ones. With Classic Criminale, and then the Misfits cover parody album, Classics. And then so this year we kind of came up with a slightly different approach. Cousin Johnny came up with this really cool kind of idea of the waterfall release where you kind of shoot everything out, like the little warm up every month, and then bam, you hit them with the whole thing at the end. So some like online kind of marketing. So we're always looking for advantages in life and in business. So we got our full length coming out probably mid-September. So we just put out our last release, single Dons and Capos, a few days ago, and we got about I don't know what like 10 plus tracks coming out. So we've never done a full length. We've done 850,000 EPs, but we haven't done a full length. So this has just been a goofy year. We had a lot of people had like a lot of stuff kind of come up. It wasn't enough to be like anything that would prevent anyone from playing in the band. But it's been an interesting year, and the good thing is we're all here, so we get the whole rest of the year to kind of come back and play a bunch of shows. We just played a hell of a show in Pittsburgh, so you know we've been able to make it out to a few cities, and we got a whole bunch planned for the fall. So in addition to that, we'll probably be working on our actual second full length. You know, Probably do some recording at the end of the year into early next year and get that out. We were in a weird position where our first full length was supposed to come out in 2020, and then COVID hit in the middle of our recording session. So, it wasn't like that was like a couple weeks, man. That was, threw everything off. We had members change, we had songs change, we had studios change. So, you know, we just kept putting out like our most best current songs from probably 2022 to the present. And now this full length coming out is actually more of like kind of the old guard, but no one's heard it because half the songs are 5 years old, and there's a few songs we never even played. So it's great. It's great because it's all new, and it's good to get all that stuff out there. But then next year we got all the stuff that we've been working on now and stuff we're gonna write, over the course of the next few months, and that you know, our full length number two is gonna be really good. So um, you know this full length it's great, it's good to have it out, but I mean, like, we have people that aren't in the band anymore. um you know I'm excited to get like all these songs out, but um yeah, at some point when full length two comes out, it's gonna be great because it's gonna be everyone who's in the band. A lot of the songs are current, and just the style and stuff is gonna be um kind of relevant with the times of punk rock. So
What don't you do, even though everybody's not here, we have the two of you. I mean, your band
Yeah.
has a theme, right? There's bands out there with the themes. I mean, the Ramones had a theme. Everybody became a Ramone. Anybody that joined the band became a Ramone, yet not one of them was ever actually a Ramone. I never even looked into why they chose that as the last name, right? But you guys have your own themes. Why don't you run down everybody who is currently in the band?
I'll let Johnny introduce himself.
Well, I'm cousin Johnny. I play bass with Italian Blood. This is a name that I did not quite choose. It was kind of bestowed upon me by the other members of the band. It's funny because anywhere I go, people seem to come up with all sorts of funny names for us. I was at one show in Long Island and someone called me Vinny Lamborghini because I was wearing a Ferrari shirt the whole time, which doesn't even really make sense, but it's still, it's still just funny and kind of ironic. So, but yeah, I've been playing with the band for maybe just over 3 years now. So I'm definitely a part of a lot of the newer stuff that we're working on, and yeah, looking forward to the release of kind of all the old stuff, the classics that kind of got us where we are, but we've been cranking out and working on a lot of new stuff too, and we're super excited to get that recorded as well and get that out to everyone.
That's fantastic. By the way, without a theme like you guys have, you wouldn't have those fun nicknames and other things. There'd be no reason. Nobody would call you Vinny Lamborghini. There wouldn't be a reason if you guys were just a band that didn't have the theme that you have.
True, this is true. So, as far as the other members, our drummer Matty Two Dicks, he's been in the band since inception. He came up with his name. He's very proud of his name. He said, "Hey, I can't make it tonight, but me and both my cocks will be on soon." So I was like, "All right." That's his gangster name. And then we have Luca the OG. He's actually from Italy, so he resides in DC, but he's the guy. He's got all the Italian connections over there. So ironically, when we did our split with Classic Criminale, he knows all the bands that that those guys know. So they all hang out together. They're all from the same city, so it's pretty cool. But and then Mickey the Irishman. So we have our a lead guitar player. He is not even trying to hide that he's not Italian, but he said, "Look, every crew, every movie has an Irishman." He's like, "That's me." So I was like, "All right, but yeah, man." And then of course me, T Soprano. So
Right. And does everybody minus the one in Washington, D.C., everybody else live in Baltimore area?
yes, correct.
Okay. So now that we got an introduction to the band and you were talking about playing some shows, have you played anything recently? What do you got on the slate for the rest of the year as now that you got the album, the first LP anyway, coming out soon? And then obviously you're going to want to line other stuff up and play some of that other stuff too as you're ready for it in the coming year.
So we just played Pittsburgh on Saturday. That was an amazing show. It was called Porky's. Special shout out to the Lasketeers for hooking us up and the Steel City Destroyers, man. They are a punk club and crew that kind of runs that bar, and they have been doing stuff for years. And they showed up in force, and they loved what we're doing. Um, it was great, man, because they'd never seen us play before, so they'd always we'd gone back and forth for emails for years trying to get in there, any place down there, and they had all sorts of changes too, and so we got like a pile of shit that we always have with us. It always changes. We're always evolving with all the stupid stuff we're gonna do to the crowd. And they seem to love it, which is great because they could easily not like it. So we the pizza boxes, fake money. The last three shows I've been throwing pasta into the crowd, like dry pasta. So there's other shit too. So a pizza suit. So like I see them right before we're getting on, and we've all been hanging out like all show, and a couple of them I see like they're stuffing like all these pieces of salami like in like these like Ziploc bags and like and putting them into coats and vests and shit, and they're like, man, like I hope you're ready. And I was like, oh, I hope you're ready. I was like, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. And so, song two, they start just chucking salami and like pieces of gabagool at us. And like, I end up eating one, like they're flying in the crowd and the band. there was like a thing of a football player like up on the wall hanging up, and they're throwing it at that so it sticks. Like this is all while we're playing, and
Let me say specifically, it was a Ben Roethlisberger jersey. As a Baltimorean, if you know anything about the rivalry, it was pretty satisfying for me to see, a framed Ben Roethlisberger jersey, 4 or 5 pieces of salami stuck to it by the end of the night. I don't know if that was their intention, but it's certainly was great for me.
yeah. So, all that happens, and then we start throwing pizza boxes and fake meatballs and like just all this stuff. At the end of the night, it just like is just a pile of crazy stuff all over the floor. And that's always our thing, man. It's like good songs, Italian theme, try to put some humor in there, a lot of gang vocals, and just a lot of massive insanity. So I had a friend there who moved there, hadn't seen him in about 6, 7 years. He and I went to college together, and as soon as he got off the phone, he called his wife. He's like, I can honestly say I just saw a show in which I've never seen anyone do and half the shit they did before. He's like, there's pizza boxes, there's a salami, there's pasta, and it's just out of control. I was like, awesome, man. That's exactly what I want to hear. So
That's amazing. And again,
yeah.
it goes back to, if you guys didn't have the theme for the band, what would you do? Right? You wouldn't have the thing to do that. I mean, it makes sense because, I mean, if you just, I don't know, threw garbage, or, that's a stupid example because who's going to do that? But, if
There are
you,
bands that do that also,
Yeah.
yes,
but the theme, it is a little more cohesive with the theme that we have.
exactly, which makes it not outlandish. It's also, you're going to have the story to tell where it's like, hey, I can't believe what I saw. But at the same time, you can say, but on the other hand, maybe I can believe what I saw. Considering the band I just saw.
Yeah.
Well, I go to a lot of live shows, and a lot of times, it's not like the songs themselves that are like necessarily like the best memories. Like, oh, I love this song. I couldn't wait to see it live. But it's actually like the crowd interactions that you have. It's that unique experience of the live show, the crazy stuff the band is doing, or, the camaraderie of the people in the mosh pit, all dancing around or singing aloud to like the certain, same part. So I think that's something that we kind of try to bring as well is, yeah, the songs are fun to listen to on your own, but, when you get there in person, it really just takes the experience to a whole nother level.
Exactly. And for us, it's authentic. So you can do whatever you want, beach balls and garbage, but for us, hey man, it all connects. So
Right.
always hang our hat on that.
I would rather have what you got going on, the pizza boxes, the pasta, salami, cheese, whatever else is going on, than beer flying onto me, or, who knows what, something else like that. Water, I guess, you get some people with like squirt guns or something, maybe. I'm trying to think. You don't see that much of that type of interaction unless you're like at a Guar concert or something. And that's way better than what you're going to get at a Guar concert. At a Guar concert, like, no, I'm going to hang way back so I don't get any of the shit on me.
Oh yeah, man. Plus when you go to Guar, like you can't see for the next 2 days, man.
Right.
That shit like your face. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That's
I normally
fantastic.
wear contacts, and I've left Guar shows with my contacts just stained red, and it's like I wonder if this will come out, after a soap or something like that, or overnight. No,
Right.
it doesn't. You gotta throw those things out, but that's how you know we're real because we know about the red contacts after a Guar show.
There you go.
We're all about that stuff. Yeah.
That's great. I like your stick. Again, everybody can have their own. I mean, we obviously all know what's going on at the Guar show, and I'm sure plenty of people watching right now all have the same idea. But again, I think it's better for other things. There's other better options to have as a thing, as opposed to, all right, let me make sure I wear some clothes that I don't care if the stains come out of when I go to the show. I'm not going to wear the band t-shirt. Like, hey, look what I'm wearing, guys. I got this the last time you were here, or, something along those lines. Cause my closet's full of just band t-shirts. So that's what I'm going to pick. But, you go to a show like that and like, all right, what shitty holy shirt do I have that I can just throw away when we're all done? On to the new songs. We'll come back to shows that we'll have more shows, but I guess to stay more closer to the present, you guys did just drop the single, but the 4 tracks are included with the single this past week. What was it? Thursday, something like that. Sometime last week, right? 31st.
It was Thursday or Friday. I think it was Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then tell us about those songs. I know some of those had already been released prior to this release, but like this year prior to, not like a couple years ago, and you just kind of threw them on there.
Yeah, so we did first song was Punch You in the Face, and then we did essentially once a month, kind of doing like a new single, and that's building up to our full length. So we did that one, we did Giovanni, and then Bada Boom Bada Bing, and then Dons and Capos was the one that we just put out. Yeah, these were all part of the original kind of set. Some songs didn't make it, these did, and then we got another, I don't know, 6 or 7 that we'll have out next month.
Perfect. And all of those together, these 4 plus those on the official release, the full length release.
Correct. Yeah.
What formats are they going to be available? I'm sure, obviously, digital, as all the tracks are currently available. But what other formats are you going to make these available?
Definitely CD, and we'll figure out what to do. We'll all talk, but for our second full length, I'd like to do at least a small vinyl run. For this one, I'm not sure. We'll see what we want to do, but it's different when they're older, and not everyone. You know what I mean? So, anytime we do like a big release, I want it to be big and cool, but it costs a lot of fucking money to do vinyl, so it's not like you just say, oh yeah, $50 here. It's quite the ordeal. So I don't know if I don't think we'll do it for this one. If people want to do a very short run, then yeah, cool. But I would at least like to do vinyl for the second, even if it's a very short limited run. But everything else is always digital CD. So Bandcamp, Spotify, and all that other stuff. So.
Right. And it's good because I think with a thing like you guys, like you were pointing out, it's going to be a memorable performance. When people are at a memorable performance, you typically want to bring memorabilia or merch back with you. So having that CD or something, right? Because some of those tracks, as you pointed out, maybe people aren't as they don't remember every track or come in knowing all the words to all the tracks, but they're going to participate and enjoy a lot of the rest. And then maybe the next time, after they've left with the CD, they're going to know all the tracks and then also just enjoy the performance. So what are people taking home with them? What do you guys have at your shows?
So we got a whole bunch of stuff, and we got a bunch of CDs.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't. Yeah. you got the theme and everything going on. I'd be disappointed if you didn't have a whole bunch of things.
We got a bunch of stickers. Anything from Pizza Mohawks to Joe Pesci to the Adidas, not Adidas symbol. And then we just got our first patch. So the Guido's There patch, embroidered. It's nice. It's good. So brand new. And then, shirts, an enamel pin. That's a very nice one. Jonny, am I missing anything?
I mean, I'll add that we design our own shirts, so we keep all that in house at least for now. We got a pretty good design that another band had offered to us, so that might be coming out soon, and maybe our next merch run for shirts. More to come on that, but outside of that, yeah, I think you pretty much hit it all. Yeah, we got a nice embroidered patch. We got all the CDs, stickers. Oh, we have an enamel pin that says Paisan. So that came out kind of along with the Classe Criminale split, I believe, which had our song "We're Paisans" on it. So that's a cool one that's got kind of the logo off the front of the CD. One thing we used to have, I'll kick it back to Tyler to see if we can make it happen again. But we actually used to have these little. They were combs. They were like these nice, like stainless steel kind of like switchblade combs. with like Italian blood kind of carved into the handle. So we haven't had those for a while. That was a pretty premium item. If you got one, you're lucky. So we'll think about putting it out there, but sometimes the exclusivity behind those kinds of things makes it a little more special to people. So I don't know. We'll talk about that offline, but
You get a
yeah, I
version
think that's
too,
just
something that looks different. That way, the people that got the first version
that's true.
know that they got the first one, and then everybody else, you're going to get whatever the second version is.
We would usually only try to sell like one per show, something like that. So we would keep it like really limited. If you get it, you get it. If not, maybe next time. But yeah, that was a fun one.
When is the next show then? So now that we mentioned all the stuff that people can get, when's that going to be? Where is it at?
At this point, it's gonna be September 19th, in New Brunswick, New Jersey. It's called Cinco de Mayo. Uh, it's a good spot. It's got like a DIY spot in a restaurant. So a lot of bands go there. We're playing with like a pretty notable up and coming kind of New York hardcore band. I was just looking to play there, and then I heard they were on it, and there was like another show we were even thinking about that also had a really good headliner. I think it was the Suspects or something from California, and I was like, man, they're getting some good bands here. Like it's gonna be fucking wild, man, because it's like not a huge space. And that's why you go there, just because it's wild and DIY. So I was like, oh, this will be a good one, man. So
That'd be a good show on September 19th. That's great. Uh, how
yeah.
far of the drive, for us non-East Coasters? Because in my mind, everything seems so close that it's probably like a couple hours away from a lot of these spots. I think Pittsburgh's going to be a bit further away because that's way out west in Pennsylvania. But how Baltimore? How far is that drive?
It's probably 2 hours.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that ain't bad. For me, I'd get to the Idaho border in around 2 hours. maybe a little bit less.
We're
So
lucky in the Northeast to have everything, super close together, and yeah, it's really not too hard to get to most of our shows. Yeah, even if you're a local, if you really want to support the crew,
right.
you can drive the 2 hours or something and make it out. So it's really nice.
Yeah, 2 hours is reasonable. That ain't that far. That's cool. Where else you guys gonna be playing then? Or where are you looking to be playing? Maybe nothing announced yet, but I know that since you're putting the new music out for people to get their hands on, listen to, and all that, uh, you're probably going to want to play some shows, and then obviously, like we were pointing out, into 2026, you'll probably be throwing out something else. So, where are there any others for sure, or are you just have
Oh
anything
yeah.
stuff tentative?
So October, we got 3 shows. I'll let Johnny talk to you about the October 3rd. October 17th will be in Queens. October 18th, Hanover, PA. November will be at the Meat Locker in Jersey. And then we're looking to get back to Pittsburgh and Richmond before the end of the year.
Yeah, October 3rd is I'm gonna just look it up real quickly to make sure I don't get the town name wrong, but it's called Ringing Rocks Roller Rink in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. So it's actually a film festival we're playing called Skate or Die Film Festival. So that should be a fun one. It's like a 2-day film festival at a roller rink. They have music the first night, and then I guess some films that night as well, and also some films on the second night, and food trucks and tattoos and all sorts of stuff like that. So I've never actually been before, but it sounds like a fun event. We're definitely looking forward to that one. Yeah.
That one does sound like a blast. That'll be a lot of fun. A lot of stuff going on.
Never played a roller rink before, so we'll have to come up with some new antics for that one.
Yeah, are
Yeah.
people going to be roller skating while you're playing? Like this would be
I
awesome if the
wouldn't.
stage is like in the middle and people can be either standing and or skating around. I guess it's terrible if people are standing and skating. People are going to get hurt, but maybe skating around where you're playing.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be in the middle of the rink there, but I think it sounds like to me that might be an option. We might be off in a room to the side, and hopefully they'll still be able to hear some of the sweet tunes we're cranking out, and kind of have that as the soundtrack to their skate session. But again, I've never been, so we'll see. It's I know, probably just as much as you about this thing, just a handful of little bullet points and we'll just see how it goes. Hopefully,
Well,
hopefully we'll back.
you'll need to get some of this on video then, especially if they're roller skating around you. That make for some pretty good video. And on the
Yeah.
video note, I don't know if I've ever looked it up, but do you guys have music videos?
We had a couple of we put out, and they were all DIY. So we did one for Italian Blood like a while ago, a while ago when that came out, and it's like all like homemade stuff. We did a couple for the Christmas songs that again we're just kind of come up with our debaucherous slides, slides and photos for that, and but we've been looking at other apps, to kind of get like a really good better kind of experience. So you know, hope for in the future we have something a little more higher quality, I guess you'd say. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we're looking for some production value and some of our upcoming music videos. But yeah, up until now, it's been like T mentions and mostly slideshows. I did put kind of a video together to "We're Paisans,"
yeah,
which is one of our songs. That one's more like a clip compilation of a lot of our shows. It's really meant to give uh promoters and things like people like that an idea of what we can do, but it's out there on YouTube if people want to find it. But yeah, we're definitely looking to get some kind of narrative, high production music videos going in the future. So that's something we've been talking about a lot. Yeah.
I'm thinking right now that it should be like Sopranos shorts, right? Like some offshoot spin-offs, and you can be telling the story through video, but your song is maybe the soundtrack to it. I mean, this seems like a great opportunity for the band. I don't know if you guys have got like something penciled in on any of these topics here, but this definitely seems like if you're not doing it, it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we've been talking to Scorsese, David Chase. Haven't always returned a phone call. Obviously, some clips of that would be kind of cool. So.
Some Sopranos fan fiction that's been written. That's got to be out there. I mean, I haven't looked for it by any means, but with all the other fan fictions and stuff out there, there's got to be something. And you get some cameras together, get some people willing to do a thing. You kind of map it out, draw it out, and you tell your story through the video. And you got Italian Blood playing a track to it. You got some of the new tracks right there, Dons and Capos, right? That one is screaming for a Sopranos short film to be the soundtrack of.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of those themes that are on this upcoming album, and then obviously on the next album. So there'll be a lot of different topics and themes we can cover. So even we can't use the clips, we can maybe reenact them and kind of look at ourselves, in the appropriate attire. So
Right. I
yeah,
mean, you guys are like alternate universe Sopranos, as it were, anyway, right? You're your own characters, but like in some other alternate universe, so not the identical characters. And then you just go that route.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I like it. I'm
I
waiting
like
to
the
see this one. And really, I mean, it comes down to who you know, because right now it sounds like you guys got it covered to come up with your own merch and all your own pictures. So you got somebody available to do those things. And, there's certain bands that will get, 20, 30 music videos, but that's probably because they got somebody in the band with either the cameras or the video editing and, something like that. So you need the person that's ready to write up your short script, uh, put your short together, because obviously that's going to take time. Map it out, draw it out, direct it, record it, all those things, edit it up. All sounds like a lot of work, but it sounds like a lot of fun too.
we have been working on trying to DIY some of that stuff. Like I said, we're a bunch of creative people, so so we have some of the equipment to do it. It's just when do we have the time to get everyone together? And it might end up being we just shell out a few bucks for someone to help us with all of that. But yeah, we'll hopefully get there soon enough. And yeah, we definitely have plans for some of the newer songs, especially. We might revisit some of the old ones as well, but it's just really a matter of kind of getting out the album. We've been trying to do that for a while, and going forward from there. So I would expect a music video to drop the day the album's released or anything like that. But maybe in this in between time while we're still recording and tracking the next one, we might have something come out.
Well, film festival that you're going to be going to October 3rd, kind of short notice for that, but maybe if you go play that again, you guys debut your own short film. I mean, you could do some sort of a short film and include a couple tracks just on there. So it's almost like a Italian Blood short film. And then you just include some of your music kind of as a soundtrack would be in other movies or TV shows.
Yeah, and I do believe there is a music video category for that one. So that would be really cool. Yeah, I don't think it's happening in the next 2 months here.
Right.
If we're a last minute addition, I don't know how fair that is to everyone else, especially if we're also playing the event. But yeah, that would be a ton of fun, and yeah, we got stuff in the works.
Oh, I'm sure. I wasn't surprised that you guys wouldn't that you could create, right? You'd have the creativity and the ability to do that. It's all really just time. And sometimes if people have experience, somebody in the band had experience doing a thing like that, then it would go a lot faster than, yeah, I could probably figure it out because I could edit some videos and stuff like that, but I haven't really edited like a short film music video. I don't know how long that's going to take me. And, the same can go for a lot of people, maybe in the band. Everybody could probably do it. But since you don't do it all the time, probably takes a little longer and, a bit more time invested.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of YouTubing to figure that kind of stuff
right. And find, all right, what program's the best program?
Beating your head against the wall. And yeah, I mean, I kind of had to go through that when I put together this little compilation video that we did earlier this year, of a lot of our shows. And that's completely without, me having to film any of it. That was just, a phone on a tripod. So, there's lighting to figure out. There's, I guess, like storyboarding and all of that, and yeah, the actual camera gear and all of that. But we're working on it. It's certainly coming.
Excellent. Well, that'll be a lot of fun to see when you guys get time to do it. I mean, with a band that just makes music, and I'm sure it could probably be true with just about any band, but with a band that makes music, you have so many things that you would probably do, but you guys are so thematic. I mean, I know I keep saying this over and over, but there's so much you can do, especially with the theme that you guys chose. Like, I think I probably told T maybe back around the first time we did the interview, like I didn't watch Sopranos originally because I didn't have HBO then, right? Was probably the first or one of the first shows of its kind that was on something that what we equate to like streaming nowadays, and maybe even streaming at this point is just regular, what you equate to regular TV, but it was its own thing and it was big. And I always heard plenty of people talk about it. And I didn't watch it until, I don't know, 2017, 2018, 2019, maybe somewhere in that range. But I binge watched that. Shoot, that took me like watching several episodes, like 2 or 3 a day or something like that, staying up late at night because I was trying to watch it all. And that was like February until June, I think, maybe May. So I don't know. It was a lot. It was a lot to get through because there's so much there. And so having a premise based off of that, but maybe also Italian culture too, it's so vast as to what you can kind of bring into what you guys do. So I'm sure it's endless on the amount of things you can probably come up with. You're just limited based on the amount of time and money as well, but time to invest into doing it.
Oh yeah, I've seen the Sopranos until after I joined the band. That was like required reading. That was my homework. I was like, all right, if I'm gonna start writing songs and play with these guys, I got to know what's up. So you've probably got around to it before even I did, but yeah, it's a great series.
It is
It was
a lot of fun.
It was probably the best 5 months of your life, right?
Right. That's all I watched. I didn't have time to watch anything else. It's like, no, I got to
Yeah.
get to that one. I got to get to that next one because they're all like an hour long and like 13 episodes or something like that. Because that was back when you weren't skirting, and getting away with like 8, 10 episodes. And it's definitely not in the UK. So you ain't getting away with 6 episodes. So there was a lot to consume.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did we cover all your shows? I kind of side railed after we covered the October, and I think you mentioned one of the November shows. Do you have anything else that's coming up before you plan to do your release for next year?
At this point, we'll have a few more. We're trying to do one, at least one in December early. We always try to do a few Christmas ones where we kind of break out Dominic the Donkey and a couple other of our amazing Christmas classics that seem to get more epic as the years go on. We were talking to these guys in Pittsburgh, the Steel City Destroyers, and they were like, "Yeah, man, we were playing because a few of us were fans, but a few of us wanted to always kind of hear the bands that are coming through, and like we were playing it at work, and we're working in the shop, and we just kind of like kept let it going and going, and then the Christmas songs came on, and we're just like, what the fuck is going on?" And then the other guy was like, "You sure you want to keep this on?" So yeah, it was good, man. We I would love to do a follow up to that, but the it's always better to have your own songs. So at least for the time being. But yeah, so we're gonna try to get a couple early December probably, and then we got one booked in November, another one like in progress. So I'm sure we'll have a few more to confirm soon.
Anywhere that you would like to add to play?
We're always trying to get into other places that we haven't been. We had a great show in West Virginia last year at 123 Pleasant Street with the boys, the Jasons. So, if we could get back with them, that'd be cool. They're in high demand, so it all depends what works for them. But Long Island, we had a great show there last year. We're trying to get back. Haven't been able to, but and then just anywhere else we can get a shot to. Love to hit like a new city we haven't done. So we almost had a show in Boston a couple years ago, but we had to reschedule due to I think a wedding or something. So there's always places to explore. There's a lot of Italians out there, man. We got to get out there. So
we were talking about potentially hitting up Florida, kind of heading south for the winter, so maybe looking for some opportunities, around December to do something like that, or maybe even early, January. But yeah, just kind of always trying to get out there and explore new cities, play the ones that we've already played. It's always a good time regardless, but the more people we can bring in on our crazy shenanigans, the better.
Yeah, very well said. Yeah.
Heading south would be good. I don't. How many Italians are down there?
Oh, you see, what's the thing? In Jersey and New York, that's where they all go. All the old crew goes down there, and now people, who are getting sick of the cold, they all go down there. So, and some migrate south, for the winter. So I think we would fit in perfectly. Our boy, he runs Little Italy's Italian Festival. It's going to come out next year in the fall. He also does the Sunday Sauce Pot podcast. Marty Paisan, he moved down there, and he's like, man, he's like, this is great. He's always posting these videos of like all these Italian comedians and actors down there. So I think we'll fit in pretty well. I don't know how they'll like all the bullshit, but I think they'll appreciate our style, our music, and stuff like that. So
to clear the air, you don't need to be Italian to enjoy Italian.
No.
It's just all part of just a fun live experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I am not Italian and I love Italian blood. Do you ever get anybody that is offended by what you're doing? And I don't mean like, oh, you guys, like your Christmas songs were a good example that were just brought up. I don't mean offended like in that sense. I mean, you guys have fun with the Italian thing, but I know you guys aren't doing it to be like, hey, fuck you, Italian guys, because obviously some of you are Italian. So do you ever get anybody that has ever said anything like that to you, either in person or just reached out and been like, hey, what are you guys doing?
Not me personally. I don't know if anyone else has. That's the one good thing about the Italian culture is that like everyone likes the Sopranos. They gravitate to that. Goodfellas, Scarface. So like you kind of know what you're getting into. I feel every kind of upbringing kind of has those classic moments where you want to get the fuck out because it's crazy, but then you kind of glorify it because you're like, I kind of liked my life and my culture. There was just some stuff that was absolutely insane. So it's not like a shock. It's not like we're doing anything that hasn't been done before. We had like one or two people ask us if we were like into Mussolini. We're like, fuck no, man. But that was more of like a question. It wasn't like, and they were like, oh, okay, like we get it. But I at least personally never heard anyone said like this is offensive. And I'm like, well, I'm Italian, man. What do you want from me? So,
I was gonna say I've maybe seen like one comment across all of our social medias like ever that was just like, oh my God, this is offensive or so, but it's like I think anyone who actually kind of checks us out and doesn't just look at what we're doing kind of like at face value, and we do I guess mock some of the stereotypes of Italian American culture and things like that. But anyone who actually does their research, comes out to a show, like they realize that it's all in good fun and that this is all just kind of a celebration of those mob movies and things like that. So they can be crass sometimes, and that's just part of the experience, I guess.
I agree. And I think that's a lesson for most people in society, right? That you go with most things based on what you just said. It's surface, right? People have such short attention spans. They come across something, barely pay any attention to it, but then get offended by it or just don't understand it. So they don't agree or something to that effect. And you're like, maybe either just if your attention span's so short, you ain't got time to check into it. Don't comment, don't say anything, just keep moving on. If that's what your attention span is. Otherwise, maybe just check it out a little bit, on a way lighter note than this. On the podcast, I feature countries and cities and states. That's a lot of what Punkanoi Worldwide is about. And on this time around, I'm starting to, I've already gone around the world twice, and now I'm hitting locations, and I always post the bands I play. That way people know. And I still get comments that people are like, oh, what about this band? And what about this band? Because they're from those cities or those states or those countries. And it's like, if you actually listen to the episode, I'm starting off by letting you know why I'm not playing those bands, because I did the last time around, and this time I actually want to focus on ones I didn't get to the last time. So again, you get the people that scratch the surface and like, well, why aren't you doing this? Or I don't like why you're doing that. It's like, did you actually check to see what it's really about?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
And on the note of the movies, people love Italian culture. People love, like, when people talk about great movies, they talk about a lot of movies like that. Like Scarface is one of those movies that so many people will talk about. And I don't think that it's to the extent that people like, I want to live that life. I think, as you were pointing out, some people maybe want to break away from those type of things, but other people maybe kind of glorify that culture. There was it's the show I didn't get into, like the motorcycle show that was, I don't know, 5 or 6 Sons of Anarchy. That's what it was, right?
Yep.
I knew some people that once that came out, they wanted to get fucking motorcycles and start dressing that way. And it's like, that's a fucking TV show, guys. Enjoy the show. Like, I like Sopranos. I like Scarface. I like Casino. I like a lot of these things that, in a sense, you can say based on whatever way you're looking at it, maybe glorify a thing, or maybe it's just telling a story. I like the stories, but I like the characters that come out of it. And I'm sure there's plenty that you could do in the same style where you just do shitty characters and then it's not even worth paying attention to. So to be fair, the culture, just as your guys' band, as I pointed out, there's a lot of content and things for you to pull from. You pick good topics, you pick good culture. So I think there's a lot for you to do. But I could create a band like your band out here on the West Coast, but I could do a real shit job of it and just not really incorporate it, I think, the way you guys do. And then it's shitty. It's not very good. Just the same that you can tell a story. I could go write a Casino movie or some mafia TV show or something. And if I don't get good characters and have a good show, it's going to suck. And I kind of derailed myself there for a moment. The point is I think I didn't hear a lot of people trying to go back and let's go join the mafia now, or let's go start our own mafia. They're just enjoying it for what that was, but people enjoy it. And that's why The Sopranos was such a big TV show. And some of those movies are some of, a lot of crowds' favorite movies, and a lot of movies that get talked about. Some of those movies are on the top lists of greatest movies, greatest characters, greatest one-liners coming from some of that stuff too. So I think it's really cool concept for you guys to work with, but also do your own thing with too. Because obviously, if you really looked at your stuff, it's like, well, punk music really doesn't go along with any of those things. Like, when was the last time you heard a punk song in any of the soundtracks to any of those things we were just talking about? So in one hand, it's not the same thing at all, but it's, when you kind of use the thematic parts to it, it's taking something that's really cool, punk music, punk theme, and then incorporating something that goes along well with it.
Yeah, that's our next thing, man. There's a few, I guess, conventions. We're going to try to get on Paisan Con or something. And we heard about it like a week before it happened. So, that's we're like, dude, like, we got to get on this shit, man. Like, we are literally like the spokes band for it. So,
there's nothing else out there like it.
Yeah. So, short-term goals,
Right.
So.
Right. You guys are the one-off. There's not like, there's Misfits and other Misfit cover bands and some horror punk bands that are somewhat similar, right? If you start getting into the thematic bands that have some sort of a theme, there's typically more. There's not a lot that are so unique. Like, I can't think of another band out there, that they play a different style of music for sure if they exist. Because I definitely don't come across any bands that I'd be like, oh, you guys and Italian Blood it'd be perfect for a split, or it'd be perfect to do a tour or something like that, because you're like the same type of theme.
Yeah, right.
I'll chime in. I wouldn't rule out any, maybe Italian Blood songs in a movie or something like that. Like, that would be pretty cool. Give it 5 or 10 years, and the punk generation is aging and getting to that point where they're some of the decision makers behind some of that stuff. So you never know.
Yeah, our songs would fit. So anybody out there have any, we'll take a chance, or if Stevie Van Zandt's listening, hit us up, man.
Right. He's still around. You guys should. I have no idea where he lives, but if he's anywhere near you guys, definitely he should be a part of your shorts, your short films and stuff, or music videos. Obviously, that's not an easy feat to be like, hey, little Steven, you want to jump in on what we're doing?
Yeah. He's tough to get some contact info for, because I have been looking. So, but yeah,
his label does a lot of garage style stuff, and a lot of that kind of is in that garage punk style too. Yep. Even so, it's not too much of a stretch for him to take notice. Or I don't know what else he's done recently. I watched that show where he was the mafia guy that went to Sweden, but I think that was like 5 or 6 years ago. Sweden or Norway, I don't know, some shit like that. It was on Netflix.
Oh yeah, Lilyhammer.
Yeah, Lilyhammer. Yes, there you go. That's what it was, right? And I don't know if I've seen him do anything since then.
Yeah, I don't think he's done too much since then.
Right.
Yeah, just playing music.
So he's ready. He's ready to get in front of the camera again, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously his next project. So
very fitting. What else do we need to know about what you guys are up to?
just doing shows. We got the album coming out, album next year. So hope to get on. Hope for the shows to continue, and then hopefully, jump on a few festivals, a little Paisan convention. Anything we can to further expand our outreach and our stage. So.
Well, I hope you get to do that. Are there any festivals you want to do? Is obviously you guys kind of get in some weekenders and stuff like that, and it's I say regional because it's mostly like northeast, so you're not traveling to Texas or to California and shit like that is obviously pretty far to get to and takes considerable amount more planning and time to do. So is there anything in the cards that you guys are looking at? Is that something that the band can do? Because I know with the more band members you get, the harder it is to try to schedule around everybody's life.
We try to get to, Fest in Florida, Paisan Con in Jersey. There's a thing I just heard about that's called Cold Cut Fest in Pittsburgh, which is the people we just played with. So next year, it's on the fucking radar. And Jonny, I know you got a few you're interested in. So.
Yeah, I go to a lot of festivals. So yeah, I think the two big ones, I've been going to Camp Punksylvania for a few years now. That's a really fun annual punk camping festival out in, I guess, like Western Pennsylvania or Central Pennsylvania. So that's a blast. Lots of cool smaller acts there and a handful of big ones. But that's on our radar. We're hoping to get in there at some point soon. And then the fest in Gainesville is the most fun festival I've ever been to, and I've gone to that 4 or 5 years running. So I'll never miss it, and hoping that one of these years I can bring the rest of us down and we can actually play a set there. So those are the two big ones that I'm striving for. But yeah, T's got a handful of other ones that he's into.
Camp Punksylvania, if I'm not mistaken, within the last week or so, I think they posted on their Instagram page that they're open now for bands to submit for the next year. So just opened up, I think, within the last week or two. So you guys got to get that application in or whatever the process
I'm working
is.
on it. That's right after this call. Yeah, we're talking some business. Yeah.
In process. Yeah, process.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be terribly far. That's if it's middle of Pennsylvania, that's shorter than Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours, something like that.
Oh, that ain't bad. Yeah. And go have fun on the weekend, and maybe at bigger festivals. Both of those are relatively big. I see the lineups. I don't know what like venue size and how many people attend because I haven't been myself. But I see the lineups for each of those each year, and they do bring in, like you said, a handful of big bands on both, and a lot of other bands. So I have to imagine a lot of people and a lot of space. But I was just talking to a band last week, and they were talking about Rebellion Festival, and Rebellion's obviously that one's huge. If you haven't seen the lineups for it, there's hundreds of bands over 4 days. And they do the side, the outside the venue. So like clubs and stuff will kind of take advantage of, hey, there's this thing there, and they'll book other bands. So bands that don't get on the lineups, but still want to either maybe go watch the festival and then perform while they're there, jump in on these side gigs as they were, or side venues that aren't official, but they're there. And maybe people that don't get the tickets, or a lot of those are like club show type things. So it's after the fact, you go spend the day at the venue. And then when you're done, you can leave and go check out some other bands. And so maybe even those, if you don't get on the next ones, and if you're going anyway, definitely a good place to jump in, because I'm sure your name gets mentioned, to other people at those festivals. So it's probably a way to get in on those, because I don't know how, I've never applied to be in there. I have no idea what the process is, but I'm sure a lot of bands want to get in. So it's not as easy as just like, hey, look at us. Can we come play?
Yeah. Yeah, that's not one I've been to yet, but maybe I'll add it to my watch list, and maybe we'll make it out. We'll see.
Right?
Time will tell.
Well, if you go to those other festivals, just look and see if they've got the clubs and stuff somewhere nearby in the towns nearby, and maybe they're doing the same concept. I imagine they probably are. I go to Punk Rock Bowling, as I'm out west, and that's in Las Vegas, and they have the sponsored shows that Punk Rock Bowling does at their 6 or 7 venues they work with, and then there's at least 5 or 6 other ones that are the unofficial club shows of Punk Rock Bowling, and then
Yeah,
tons of other
I've
bands
been to a
come.
handful. Yeah, I've been to a handful of punk rock bowlings. That's this is the first year that I've missed since I started going. But I've probably been to, I think, 3 or 4 of those. So yeah, that would be next level, getting. But it is West Coast. I think they generally, I go to a lot of the pool parties and the after shows and all of that, and it seems like they tend to really grab a lot of West Coast bands for a lot of those. So it'd be tough for some East Coast boys like us to get out there, but but I would certainly I think it'd be a blast to play out there. That's one of my favorite festivals as well. Just there's nothing like hanging out on the rooftop, with a circle pit in the pool, watching live music and stuff like that. It's really something that you can't get anywhere else. So
I agree. And that pool, when that circle pit's going on the floor, every time it feels like you're on a wave. It's like, all right, I know I've been up here before and the floor didn't fall out from under me, but it still feels like it's going to fall out from under me.
Yeah. I'll keep an eye out for you next time.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't put those festivals together, but I imagine they probably pick a lot of the West Coast bands, probably because they can get them for less, right? Less expense,
Yeah.
So I would imagine, if it's me and I'm doing it, any East Coast band that's like, hey, we just want to get on and play, it's like, all right, I can only offer what I would offer the guys that are out here on the West Coast, but if you want it, I'd rather bring you out here. That way you get more than just the West Coast bands playing out on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So you never know. But again, I don't know the process. I haven't actually filled it out.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if I've actually seen like an open submission or open call, for band submissions for punk rock bowling in the few years that I've been going. So I think they already have people that they look to kind of recruit some of that talent, but I could be wrong. I'll keep an eye out for it again.
they have the ones they want, but if you go to their website, they just don't advertise it. But if you go to the website, they actually have the application. I've looked for vendors because I've got vending possibilities to go. And so I thought, shoot, instead of buying the ticket, maybe I'll just do the vending thing. And in the same area where you fill out the application to be a vendor there, they actually have applications for the bands, or at least they did. So they probably have it. They just don't advertise it like Camp Punk Sylvania put it out on their Instagram page. That's how I come across it.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I'll
well,
keep an eye out.
That'd be cool if you guys get to do that. Do you guys have any other projects outside of Italian Blood that you want to mention before we wrap up?
Yeah, this is all that I got for now. I know he's in another band called Dead End Lane here out of Baltimore as well.
Yeah, I figured he'd want to mention that, and I didn't realize he dropped off until you said that.
I was saying it for him. Yeah, they're pretty good. They just played with the Dolly Rots over the weekend, so it was actually he plays guitar for them, and they actually got a fill in because we had this Pittsburgh gig pop up, and we've been trying to get out there for a while. So he usually wouldn't put them in a tight spot like that, but this time he knew where his loyalties were, if you know what I'm saying, and he decided to take all of us out there, and it was a blast. It was a great show.
That's awesome. Well, I don't know if he's going to be jumping back on. I hate to drop him, but if there's nothing else, then while we wait to see if he comes back, why don't you let us know where people should look for you, look for that new music that, iTunes, Spotify right now is where Dons and Capos are. You guys haven't quite got the other stuff on there. I think the newest one is Punch You in the Face is the newest track you got on your Bandcamp page. But there's the 4 total tracks that have been released since then until now. So why don't you run down where people should check you out and follow you?
Yeah, he knows more about the the release side of things. I think Spotify. It sounds like we're on Apple Music too. I don't have Apple Music. So
Me either.
And I wasn't aware of the Bandcamp releases. They weren't on there either. But but he's the one who kind of deals with the distro that puts all the music out. So I'll bug him about that. Maybe it's just a box he has to tick or something. And get that uploaded to all the right places. But yeah, we're on Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp. We're on Facebook, Italian Blood Punk Rock. Actually, I think on Facebook it's just Italian Blood. Instagram, Italian Blood Punk Rock. TikTok, Italian Blood Band. We're not as big on TikTok just yet, but we're working on building that presence. You know, we're a little older, you know, on the older side, so it's a little bit of a learning curve there. You know, but yeah, that's where you can find all our stuff. I think we have some merch available through Bandcamp also, possibly for shipping. Don't hold me to that, but I think you could probably order a shirt there if you wanted, and if not, you could, you know, just DM us on Instagram or Facebook, and we could probably work something out.
You do have a few things over on your Bandcamp. You got the Where Guidos Dare shirt. You got the Pizza Mohawk shirt there, and then the Where Guidos Dare sticker, the Paisan pin that you were mentioning earlier, and then the engraved comb, the pocket knife. Looks like, I don't know if you guys have any, but it doesn't say sold out.
We might have to update that.
Yeah.
I think some of that's out of stock, but yeah, we got another design. It sounds that you didn't mention. It's like an Italian Blood Adidas collab. It's not necessarily official. You know, don't call the people over at Adidas. But it's a cool Adidas logo with just the Italian flag colors, and that's a fun one that we've been selling at a lot of shows as well.
It looks like the Bandcamp might need a little update because, again, you got the Punch You in the Face single that was out in March, and then before that, it was last year. It's the Gabagool.
Yeah, I'll get on top of that.
Fair enough.
As soon as we submit for a festival here. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's got to be first. You know, I don't know how quickly I'm sure they like to make their announcements sooner than later to get people interested in buying tickets early. That way you get some revenues early, and you have some money to work with to get all the stuff going. I imagine that's how all of that works. So yeah, you got to get that application in sooner than later.
Yeah, I'll say I think the ROI on you know, getting Italian Blood to come to the festivals is pretty good. You know, I think it would be a good business decision on their part. So we'll see what happens there.
Right. And I think part of the returning festivals, part of their formula is trying to get bands that weren't there the last year and getting bands that hadn't performed there previously too.
Yeah.
And what festival doesn't want salami and pizza boxes and gabagool and whatever else getting tossed around?
The people want what the people want. You know?
Exactly.
We just try to bring it to them. Yeah.
Exactly. And by the way, on your TikTok thing, I don't blame you. I have been asked about it before. I'm like, man, how many social media things do I need to try to run and all of that? Like, you know, like 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's the limit? And I didn't use TikTok, as you can tell. I'm of that age that I ain't using TikTok on a regular or ever. And I took the first step like last week, I think, and downloaded the app, but I haven't actually opened up the app yet.
Oh yeah.
So I haven't even created an account.
Doing a little more. Yeah, I've been doing a little more just to kind of familiarize myself with the format, but my algorithm's still junk, you know. It's like I can scroll Instagram and everything's like perfectly catered to me, and I scroll TikTok and I'm like, what is this garbage that it's showing me? You know?
Right.
Maybe just a sign of the times.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound like a curmudgeon, you know, but yeah. And we also have a YouTube. It's out there. I couldn't tell you the link. I think last time I tried to search Italian Blood YouTube, it wasn't on there, but it's kind of hard to find. But I think, you know, some of our old posts link to it, and I'm sure, you know, if you try hard enough, if someone's determined enough, you know, they could definitely find it.
I bet if you typed in Italian Blood Paisans, that was the video that you put together.
Yeah, We're Paisans. Yeah.
Yeah, We're Paisans. Yeah. If you type in Italian Blood, We're Paisans, I bet you find that video, and then you can probably go from there and find the rest.
Oh yeah. we gotta up our YouTube presence as well. And they have these YouTube shorts now that I guess are, you know, it's kind of like the reels on Instagram and stuff like that. And I guess that's another way to market yourself. And, you know, I don't think we've really done much with that, but you know, just trying to get this album done and then focus on all that other stuff later.
Well, if you get any live footage from any of your shows, especially shows like that one in Pittsburgh, right? I don't know if every one of them goes off like getting salami thrown on a Ben Roethlisberger jersey,
Yeah.
but that sounds like a bunch of great content to throw on something like that.
Yeah. I just uploaded the footage. I had set up a little tripod or kickstand with my phone on it. So I just got uploaded the footage to my computer last night and started kind of editing it. So yeah, we'll probably get some clips coming out from that show also. And yeah, I think that's what we'll be hopefully submitting over to Camp Punk soon. But
that's awesome. And I can't see why they wouldn't pick you after seeing something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
T did reach out and he just said he couldn't get Zoom to load anymore. So he said, thanks for having him on, obviously, but you guys on. So I'll just tell him thank you. And thank you, cousin Jonny, for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I look forward to the next time. Maybe you'll have to join next year. We'll have to try not to skip a year. And depending on when the album, the second LP comes out, we'll have to do it again around that time.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Perfect. Well, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate you joining me and anybody else who's tuning into this. And T says goodbye.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too.